Because bunnies are prey animals, they don't want any of the predators that might be watching them to know when they're sick. They don't want the predators to see when they hurt their foot and they're not walking as well. So they try to hide it. So what they'll try to do is hide it from you too. Even though they trust you and they know that you love them, their instinct tells them if you're sick and if you're hurt, do your best to not let anybody know, including the humans in the house. So what that means is that sometimes by the time you notice, gee, something's weird with Bradley. You know, he usually eats all of his greens. Today he only ate half. Something must be wrong. Maybe his teeth hurt. And so if you hurry up and get treatment at the vet for them when it's early into that sickness or injury, you can save them from a lot of pain. And something your parents appreciate, it would save more money in vet bills down the road. So that's another reason for having them in the house, that you get to know them very well because you can observe them and you know when they're acting oddly, which can tell you that there's something wrong with them medically. If we pay close attention to our bunnies, we can tell when they're sick. One thing that they will do, a way that bunnies say, ow, is they will grind their teeth very loudly in one sharp clack. They will make a noise that sounds almost like a nut being cracked in a nutcracker. And when you hear that, and you look, and your bunny's sort of sitting there, and you say, what's the matter? And they do it again. That's when you pick up the phone and you call the vet and you say something's wrong. Because by the time your bunny tells you, it's probably been going on for a couple of days, and they cannot stand it anymore. Or sometimes you don't get that clack. Sometimes you just come home like I did one night, and Bradley looked miserable. He was sitting in an odd way, and then he kept pushing his body in these different ways and flattening his belly to the floor. He had terrible gas. It was building up in his system, and it hurt. It hurt him so much. So what I did for him, and you practice doing this on your bunny every day to get your rabbit used to it, you give them little belly massages. You put your hand underneath their belly, and you just kind of move it around a little bit. You kind of play the trumpet on their belly. Now, when I first got him, he would never let me do this. He would be freaking out and doing this and trying to get away from me. But he loves it now because I do this every single day. And so when he does get sick and he's in a lot of pain, and I very gently do this, you can feel that gas bubble moving around. I can't now because he doesn't have it. And then all of a sudden, he's better again, and then he wants to eat again. So you practice this every day. You also practice things like getting him used to having his feet touched. You get used to things like getting him used to having his mouth and his teeth touched, his ears. You get used to all of this. You learn the way your bunny feels. You check for lumps and bumps. If you find a lump, you check the other side to see if it's there too. If it is, it's probably okay. But if there's a lump here and there's not a lump on the other side, uh-oh, might be something happening here that's not good. Might be an abscess, might be a little tumor. So we have to make sure we get that checked out right away. So this is a fun thing to do to help your bunny medically. You can just get them used to being touched all the time. He would never let me do this when I first brought him home. He was a flibbergibbet. But now he does not matter. It's very, very hard sometimes to get rabbits used to being held upside down. He doesn't like this a whole lot. But if you practice sitting on the floor every day in the same place, at the same time, in the same way, and you get him used to this because you need to be able to check his underside to make sure that nothing bad's going on anywhere underneath him. Thank you, Bradley, for letting me do that. When you do have to treat them medically and give them medicine, you know, most of us don't know how to give medicine to a rabbit. All of a sudden, the bunny's sick. We take them to the vet, and they say, okay, you have to give them this medicine every day. And you think, I don't know how to do that. Well, the way you do it, do you see his legs out? When you have to give medicine to a bunny, and you give it orally, when it's liquid, you give it to them in one of these little stoppers, these little liquid syringes. And so you get the medicine, you know, you put this in the bottle, and it comes up in there, and maybe it's pink, and that's fine. The hard part is getting it in their mouth, because often the medicine tastes really yucky. If you're lucky, it's a good flavor, and they'll just lick it right up, and sometimes they'll do that. Bunnies have teeth in the front, incisors. They have molars in the back, and then they have a big space in the middle. And so what we do when we give them medicine, is we get that mouth open and we put the syringe in that space he's looking at. Put the syringe in that space, and we gently squeeze that medicine in, and they lick it up. If we do it from the front, and we squirt it in that way, we can do something really awful to them. We can get that medicine into their lungs, and that's called aspirating, and then they can develop pneumonia from that, and it's really, really awful. So if you ever have to give medicine to your bunny, or if one of your parents does, you have to go in from the side, gently just get that in there, and they will probably fight you a little bit until you say to them, this is your medicine, and this is going to make you feel better, so please cooperate with me.